Welcome to Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, with your host, Steve Garrett, lifetime member of the National Corvette Museum, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 45 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call them at 833-840-5334. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. And be sure to visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join our Corvette Today Facebook group there as well. Also, make sure you sign up for the Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at CorvetteToday.ck.page. And if you like YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube as well. And be sure to patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, MidEngineCorvetteForum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at MidEngineCorvetteForum.com. Soul Performance Products. Developed and manufactured in the United States, the Soul Performance Products exhaust portfolio has been tailored to elevate the experience of the world's most exciting sports cars, including the latest generation of the Corvette. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit Aerolarri.com. That's AEROLARRI.com. And use the promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. Ciocca Corvettes. If you're a Corvette enthusiast, and I know you are since you're listening and watching Corvette Today, then you need to know about Ciocca Corvette. They're based in Atlantic City, where you can find over 100 new and pre-owned vets on the lot and inbound. Ciocca also ships Corvettes all over the country, custom ordered to your specifications. They're staffed with experienced pros who can answer all your questions. So don't compromise. Visit CioccaCorvette.com. That's CIOCCA Corvette.com and find out more. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. And a shout out to Canadian Corvette Forum and Corvette Forum, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. It's time for the latest Corvette news and headlines with my buddy Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. Keith is here every other week. Together we keep you current and up to date on what's happening with America's sports car. Keith, welcome back to the show. It's been a busy week last week for you and me.
Man, it was great to see you, all my friends, all the new stuff coming out of the NCM Bash. There's a lot of excitement and good things happening for Corvette. And also a couple poignant moments, of course, the retirement of Tadge, Juechter, and some other things going on. But I think I'm feeling really good about this. I tell you what, I think this episode's going to be pretty full.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, this is going to be a 4-segment episode. The 4th segment will be dedicated to everything that Keith and I learned at the Bash, just in case you didn't get to go. First, Keith, let's start off like we always do. How about Corvette production updates from the Bowling Green assembly plant?
Absolutely, yeah. So we got unofficial production estimates ending for Friday, and it shows that 20,826 Stingrays have already been produced so far for 2024. Now, the production of the Stingray is run at about 650 to 725 units per week. But it seems like whenever they need to pick up the slack, one of the other models slows down, the Stingray is there. And so sometimes we see that number jump higher if the Z06 falls a little bit lower, but they're just cranking out the cars that haven't had any production issues as far as we know. So things are good there. For the Z06, that number stands at 5,821 units. And of course, the E-Race, so in its ramp-up mode, 292 produced. So total 2024 production unofficially stands at 26,939. as we are nearly at the end of the month, a couple days left, I think Monday and Tuesday, we have seen the production of 2,744 Stingrays for April, as well as 902 Z06s and 70 E-Rays. So that was one of the things that Tadge said is, even though as we were talking about the ramp up for the E-Ray, we saw a similar ramp up for the Z06, and today they're making about 300 a week or so.
Right.
We can expect the E-Ray at some point to get up to there. In fact, we both heard from the plant director who said it's coming, it's deliberate, there don't seem to be any issues. They thanked all their suppliers for making sure that they had everything they needed. Be patient there. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out through the end of 2024. Of course, Chevy still hasn't announced the end of 2024 or when the 2025 should begin. And now that we know that at least two colors are going away, Accelerate Yellow and Amplify Orange, if you want those colors, you might want to see if you can get those orders in as quickly as possible, because obviously they're going away. So if those colors are your bag, baby, get those orders in.
Exactly right, buddy. And you had alluded to this a minute ago, but Corvette's executive chief engineer, Tadge Juechter, has announced his retirement after 47 years with GM.
Yeah, not only this is probably the biggest news of this cycle, but it's one of the biggest stories for 2024 so far. 47 years at General Motors. Tadge has been on the Corvette program since the C4, and he became chief engineer in 2006. Of course, under his leadership, we've seen some great cars produced, including the C6 ZR1, the first supercharged Corvette. He fought for Corvette survival during GM bankruptcy, and then, of course, knocked the ball out of the park with the C7 Corvettes. And finally, as the chief engineer, he was able to realize Zora's dream to make the car mid-engine with the C8 Corvettes. Just a fantastic career run. Everybody loves the guy. He's such a humble person, really is shy in terms of all the accolades he had thrown out. Anytime he got up on the stage at the Bash, he got a standing O. It's definitely a position that we're going to miss. We are so lucky again to have Tadge for all these years, and also the people he surrounded himself with. His official retirement will happen this summer. He'll be missed not only for his engineering skills, but again, his humor and the way he wowed Corvette audiences around the world with his humor and his knowledge and his fun. Just being Tadge. Definitely going to miss him.
Yeah, Tadge is great people. We will definitely miss him. But you know what? We have a great support system for him there. Josh Holder, chief engineer, Corvette, Devin Blue, everybody on the Corvette team will carry that banner proudly. Also, Keith, I don't know if this should have been in the rumors or not, but we saw ZR1 mules testing in Ohio right before the Bash.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. So they like to work out in southern Ohio, a lot of two-lane roads there, very curvy, some elevation changes. Obviously, we were hoping that maybe we'd see a repeat of the prototype showing up and doing a little drive around the circle at the Corvette Museum during the Bash. Of course, that didn't happen, but we did get some spy shots from those cars in Ohio. We're showing, a combination of coupes and convertibles, and there were a couple of coupes that had the big wing on there as well. So with that reveal coming up sometime this summer, it's going to be a really exciting time for Corvette fans.
Yeah, definitely. Also, GM has added the suede microfiber trim panel for C8 Stingrays and also the Z06 frunk and the trunk. Now, isn't this the same thing that I've got in my 70th anniversary 2023 car?
This is interesting because this came out through the distribution updates on the Corvette Order Guide. This was not part of a 2025 model year introduction. That's kind of why it's showing up in this segment as opposed to that Bash segment we're going to do later. But a member of the Mid-Engine Corvette Forum caught this update. It shows this LPO SXB suede frunk and trunk liner. The catalog description for the Corvette accessories says that it is a more premier look and feel, and it replaces the standard carpet in the trunk. It's also designed to match the interior of your vehicle. We believe that it'll come in like the same 3LT, 3LZ interior suede colors like jet black, adrenaline red, and others. Think about if you had a dip adrenaline red interior and then you opened up your frunk or you opened up your trunk, that might be red suede microfiber as well. That's what we think is going to happen. They only showed the jet black one on the catalog. In fact, they didn't even have a picture of it. They just had the description of it. We're still kind of anxious to see what's going to happen there. But the price for this accessory is $1,095. And for those that are interested, the GM part number is 856-00043. So it looks like you can order it and probably retrofit it to your existing cars. And of course, it is only for Stingray and Z06, which has the same dimensions for their frunk and trunk. The E-Ray's frunk is just a little bit different, and they were not included in this update.
Okay, that sounds good. Also, speaking of updates, remember that guy that bought the Z06 and he didn't flip it, but GM voided his warranty? Well, now they're going to honor the warranty, aren't they?
Yeah, it's nice to have an happy ending to this story. So just as a recap, Corvette Posse is his name. Waited over 2 years for his 2023 Corvette Z06 to be built and shipped. He was there at the dealer when it came off the truck. Very excited. He took delivery the very next day. Even received his 500,000 GM points in January, but his troubles began when he wanted to take his C8 back to the dealership for an oil change, get that free service visit. And the service manager showed him a printout that showed his warranty was blocked due to violating GM's Z06 retention policy. Unable to get the oil change change. The dealership then reached out to GM, and then after some investigation, they reversed that warranty block. Apparently, the problem came up after he took delivery of the car, and then he ordered a vanity plate from Arkansas. He didn't realize at the time that he got it back that Arkansas DMV had screwed up his first name on the registration.
Oh.
Everything else was the same but his first name. But when the Chevy service department entered that in and it formed a mismatch, that's what caused the warranty block to happen. So for those of you with the Z06 and the E-Ray, which also has a retention program, pay special attention to anything like registrations, anything that happens within that first 6 months that has the potential to raise the red flag in Detroit. We like to say it's important for you to do your due diligence, because with warranties, GM will just block it until you fight it and get it back. So do that due diligence. Be very careful during those first 6 months of ownership.
I'm glad that all had a happy ending, that's for sure. Also, we had a service bulletin just issued for 2023 and 2024 Corvettes. The transmission might have some improperly torqued fasteners. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so this is something that they saw servicing cars, and enough have come through that said, hey, we need to really look at this. This appears to be a Stingray-only problem, and it's a manufacturing issue from Tremec, not the Corvette assembly plant.
Oh.
We still don't have an idea on how many units are affected. There are some VIN breakpoints that are coming, and we believe that those who are affected will receive a letter from General Motors. Really, the simple fix is to replace the full transmission. Otherwise, you've got guys pulling out the transmissions, they're working on it, they have to do all this other stuff. No, just take it out, put a new one in, you get a full warranty on it. You're starting at zero with that, which again is a part that gets wear and tear. So if you've already got some miles on your car, you're starting back at zero. I think this is really the best way to go. The clock resets on that maintenance schedule. Speaking of which, it's very important to follow that correct maintenance schedule as outlined in your owner's manual. We had a chance to talk to a senior GM technician at the Bash. He says it's put in there for a reason, and you can find that on Chevrolet.com. You can find it in your Chevy app, or if you own even a Cadillac, you can add your Corvette to that and pull up manuals as well. GM offers a free filter change for the transmission. You really want to do it within 500 miles or so as you close in on that 7,500 mile odometer reading or the mileage reading on your transmission. And then you need to change it every 22,500 miles after that. We've seen some changes, but GM has extended that free service for the filter change on the transmission up to 3 years now. So I just realized that many Corvette owners, they drive sparingly. They drive maybe just a couple thousand miles a year. So they weren't getting close to that. So within that 3-year time period, if you get up to that 7,500 miles, you definitely want to get it changed.
Yeah.
For Corvettes that are also getting up in miles, this is the one that I wasn't really sure of. But again, in the owner's manual, it's important to change the transmission fluid when you hit 45,000 miles. Follow the service and maintenance procedures in that manual, and you really should be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm raising my hand because after the Bash, I drove over 1,000 miles. It's time to get my fluid filter changed on the transmission. So I've got to get that done this week for sure. Well, buddy, it's time for our first break. When we come back, Corvette racing and Corvette rumors are on deck next here on Corvette Today.
We all know that wheels make the car. Wheelcraft's PVD chrome finish in bright chrome or black chrome will take your Corvette to new levels. And it comes with a 5-year warranty. Durability is a defining feature of the Wheelcraft finish. Their PVD chrome is superior to traditional chrome with a finish that is brake dust resistant and cleans effortlessly with soap and water. Wheelcraft offers factory wheel exchange for select C4 through C8 models, or they can apply the PVD finish to your current wheels. No matter what generation you own, Wheelcraft will transform the look of your Corvette. With every Corvette comes a unique story, and Wheelcraft has embraced this idea. When you purchase your new set of wheels, you receive a lifetime membership to the Wheelcraft Pit Crew, granting you access to your own page on Wheelcraft's website, where you can post pictures and tell your Corvette story. Visit our website at wheelcraft.com or call 833-639-4231. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
The National Corvette Restorer Society is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. 50 years of affirming and promoting the preservation and restoration of the Corvette. 50 years as the foremost Corvette collector car organization for building value with its prestigious awards. Have you ever considered joining NCRS? Over 70,000 people have. We're so much more than just the nuts and bolts. The NCRS flight judging program can and often does increase the value of America's sports car by researching and publishing the leading tech manuals and judging guides for the 1953 through 2007 Corvettes, by training the best judges, and by hosting local, regional, and national judging events. And when you join, you'll get award-winning magazines like Corvette Restorer and Driveline all throughout the year. Joining is simple and easy. Just go to ncrs.org and sign up. There are NCRS chapters all throughout the U.S. and all around the world. Chances are there's a local chapter near you. So join NCRS today at ncrs.org. We come for the Corvettes. We stay for the friendships made along the way.
You're listening and watching Corvette Today with Steve Garrett.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. It's the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best, don't you? Well, dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty, too. So visit wheelcraft.com today or give them a call at 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger. We are both fresh back from the Bash at the National Corvette Museum. We've got news for you. In the second segment, Corvette racing and Corvette rumors are up next. Keith, let's talk first about Corvette racing at Long Beach.
Yeah, so this was an interesting race. Corvette Racing's partner in IMSA, AWA Racing, competed at Long Beach Grand Prix. Only the GTP and GTD cars ran at the street circuit for the 100-minute sprint car race. They split it because if you put all those cars from all the classes on that small grid, it would just have been chaos. And it was chaos anyways. The number 13 Z06 GT3R actually had its best finish to date. 17 cars in the class, and it finished 6th. Anything can happen in these tight courses. Of course, they were running, I think, 12th or 13th, but within the last 15 minutes or so, there was an accident. Everything stopped and they were able to squeak through. So they jumped into the top 10 within 15 minutes to go and then raced around again and then came up in 6th position to finish the race. Fantastic there. They're going to get some much needed points. Very excited to see them do well there. So AWA and Corvette Racing's 2 Z06 GT3Rs will next be in action in Monterey at Laguna Seca on Sunday, May 12th.
Nice. Also, we had Corvette racing at Imola. We had points for TF Sport, didn't we?
Yeah, so they were racing their 2 Z06 GT3Rs in the World Endurance Championship at Imola. TF Sport was one of the 2 teams in the class to have both its cars finish in the top 10. So again, much needed points. The number 81 Corvette finished 7th and the number 82 came in 8th. Great to see that. Of course, for them, this is a new car. We've had some teething issues. I believe this is the first race where both cars finished, and of course, finishing in the top 10 is even better. Glad to see that, and hopefully that trend will continue. TF Sport will next race the FIA-WC at the 6 hours of the Spa on Saturday, May 11th. Once again, we'll have cars on both continents racing that same weekend. Lots of Corvette racing going on out there.
How cool is that? I love it. I love it. Keith, in the rumors category, I don't know about this one, buddy. It says the 2026 Corvette interior is going to get one huge screen and the Great Wall of Buttons goes away.
Steve, it's the rumor that just keeps on rumoring. I don't know how else to say it, but we've got 2 different sources on this, and they're both pretty decent sources. A friend of mine who relayed it to me totally says trusted. First report says that a group of Bowling Green assembly plant employees, they're referred to as a transition team, took over the install station where the current instrument panel is installed on the assembly line. What they were working on was hidden under cover, and it was further blocked by about 10 of these people surrounding the area. To us, it sounds like they're either doing a fitment test or it could be testing the process and equipment required to do a install the dash on the assembly line. That's the first one we had. And then the second rumor was that huge screen. This tip comes from another insider who says, look to the 33-inch instrument panel on the 2025 CT5V Blackwing. This was a new addition for the Blackwings in 2025. And apparently it was a plan for 2024, but it got delayed by a year. Does that sound familiar, Steve?
Yeah.
The fact that our rumor got bumped another year?
Yep.
Other interesting detail of this change could very well mean that GM Super Cruise with this hand-free driver assistance technology is finally coming to the Corvette, whether you like it or not. With Corvette now, with the 2024s having emergency braking, lane assist, and other driving enhanced technologies, it looks like it has everything it needs to be able to handle Super Cruise. So we'll have to see if that happens. Of course, the Super Cruise would have to have some lights on that steering wheel and stuff like that. The Corvette's a driver's car, not really a rider's car. So we'll see how that all works out. But there's some big stuff coming, and we think that these rumors are starting to nail stuff down. Knocking on wood, though, they are just rumors.
It could be pretty cool, buddy. It could be pretty cool. Also, speaking of cool stuff, let's talk about what we do know already about the ZR1 prototypes since we didn't get a drive-through at the Bash.
Absolutely. So once the public tour shut down in early February this year, we figured that Chevy would do some ZR1 prototypes, and they did. Internal paperwork shows at least 21 Corvette ZR1, quote, EX cars have been completed. The EX cars are classified as experimental. They say EX on the VIN. That's why we always say if you see a prototype, if you can get a picture of that VIN, that's always helpful because it tells us what it is, so to speak. EX cars will all be destroyed once GM is done testing, and then we get to the CTF cars. Those are saleable, so once we start seeing CTF cars or cars in the VIN in that don't have EX, that means we are getting much closer to customer production.
Yeah.
Our friend Rick Conti looked up some of these details on the cars. They have production codes very similar to the Z06. For example, the Z06 has 4 wheel designs, and they are SOA, which is black, SOC, satin graphite, SOD, machine faced, and SOE, the titanium satin. The ZR1 is also showing 4 similar codes. We believe those are wheels. They are SOF, SOG, SOH, and SOJ. We don't have the designs attached to them yet, but we've got the code. So again, sounds very similar. And then along with the wheels, there's a J58 code, which should be for the Brembo carbon ceramic brakes.
Okay.
That code for the Z06 is J57, and I think Stingray's J56.
Yeah.
Always something to keep in mind on there. And of course, the return of one of our favorite options is J6B, which are the blue calipers.
Nice.
Which were always exclusive to the ZR1 in the C6 days and the C7 days. The internal paperwork showed LT7 for the engine, but no details, and M1K. Again, no details. That's the 8-speed DCT transmission. We see the return of ZTK, which was the same performance package code that was on the 2019 ZR1s.
Great.
And finally, there was a code for T0M, which we believe is the very big wing seen on the prototypes of the cars that were at the Nürburgring. Chevy uses T0F and T0G for the Z06's high wing, carbon fiber or carbon flash painted carbon fiber. So T0M seems to fall within that same RPO structure. This car expected to be revealed sometime this summer, and production could start later in the 2025 model year, but don't rule this out of this car being a 2026 yet. It could be a late 2025 or maybe 2026. Maybe they started early. Who knows? Their schedule's so weird these days. We're just along for the ride, Steve.
Absolutely right, buddy. All right, it's time for our next break. When we come back, it's the lighter side of Corvette coming up next here on Corvette Today.
The Radiator Grill Store offers protection for your C8's front radiators and side intakes. They also carry front strut tower covers to prevent rusting and pooling water, all with do-it-yourself installation. Get 10% off your total purchase with promo code CT10. See the full line of products at radiatorgrillstore.com.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
And now, back to the only current podcast on Corvettes, Corvette Today, with your host, Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best? Dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty as well. So visit wheelcraft.com today or give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger. If you want a deeper dive into any of the stories Keith and I cover on this show, you can always go to CorvetteBlogger.com. In segment number 3, we talk about the lighter side of Corvette. First of all, this is not the lighter side. Ken Lingenfelter, congratulations, my friend. You've dynoed the first supercharged E-Ray.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So, and we got to actually see this car at the NCM Bash and talk to Steve and the owner there. He said it was very important for the car to remain drivable. You know, there's no special fuel systems added on.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be able to get there and drive, but he wanted more power than the Z06, and he says it definitely has it. So prior to the Supercharger edition, we saw the E-Ray put down on the dyno, and it had 573 wheel horsepower and 630 foot-pounds of torque. And then with the Supercharger added, the car dynoed at 734 wheel horsepower and 792 foot-pounds of torque. So that's a gain of 161 horsepower and 162 foot-pounds of torque. He says it's very quick, although he says prior to the NCM Bash, he's probably driven it about 5 miles or so, just because it was picked up at the dealership by Paragon, drove to their shop where they did some work on it, then shipped Lingenfelter in Michigan where they did some work to it, and then shipped back. So he's finally getting a chance to enjoy it a little bit. He says actually it's going to be headed to the track hopefully within the next week or two. Equipped with some drag radials, this thing should put up some serious times to see what that does.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, that was the first supercharged E-Ray. We also have the first twin-turboed E-Ray, and it hit the track and did some drags in the high nines. Wow.
Yeah, so this one comes from Boost District, and it's equipped with Extreme Turbo Systems twin turbo kit, and then they also installed a heavy-duty clutch, Lingenfelter Performance Engineering pistons, and a direct injection fuel pump. And also, the stock computer was unlocked and calibrated.
Ooh.
So they were able to tune that. The E-Ray still retains its stock cam, heads, cats, and the PS4S tires. So again, another very drivable car. At the drag strip, the car made multiple passes, and its fastest time was 9.741 seconds at 152 miles an hour.
Amazing.
Boost District claims it's a 1,000 horsepower build. I don't know if that's the raw number. I'm assuming that's the raw number, not the dyno number. But as they put these things together, if you want to do one of these, their packages start at $21,250. That's installed and tuned and out the door.
There you go. I like that. Speaking of E-Rays, we had a 2024 E-Ray. Did a little bit of bullying on the track. Your favorite car, Keith, the Nissan GTR, and also one of my favorite cars, the Lamborghini Aventador SV, did some drag racing with the E-Ray and lost to the E-Ray.
Yeah, so for me, this is exactly why the E-Ray is preferred over the Z06. Again, nothing for the Z06 with that magical engine it has and the track performance it's capable of. Blogging for 18 years, anytime I saw a Corvette line up against an all-wheel drive competitor, they usually lost because the all-wheel drive car could out-launch and then race to the finish line just as fast as the Corvette. Usually the Corvette would even have more horsepower. When I see Jesse Uji takes out his stock E-Ray and runs it against a Nissan GCR and kills it, I was shouting. That's exactly why when I heard all-wheel drive, I was like, sign me up. And then, of course, he races against a Lamborghini Aventador SV. That car was tuned. It cost nearly $600,000, and he beat that in the quarter mile. His times for the E-Ray, though, not spectacular in terms of he didn't even really quite meet the factory numbers. The DA is a little bit higher out there as opposed to being closer to sea level. But he says the E-Ray ran 10.635 at 126 against the GTR and then 10.65 against the Lamborghini at 126 miles an hour.
Wow.
If you watch any of Jesse's videos, his laugh is pretty infectious and there's a lot to be excited about. So I think I'd be laughing too if I was bullying a GTR and a Aventador.
That's bragging rights for sure at its highest. That's for sure. Also, Keith, this is awesome. In honor of the upcoming ZR1, MotorWeek published a retro review of the C6 ZR1, which is nice.
Yeah, so John Davis and MotorWeek, they've been around for decades. So when the announcement came, a new ZR1 was on the way this summer, they dived into their archives and pulled out a track review of the C6 ZR1, of course, with 638 horsepower, that LS9 engine showing through that hood there as it did. Boy, did that make waves back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Making this review even cooler, the car they used was finished in atomic orange, which again is a color that people look back and say they really like. We now know that they only put that color on 35 ZR1s in that first year. Just a fun review from MotorWeek. You can see the car launch and drive around the track. It looks kind of plain Jane compared to the new Z06 and what we're seeing with the ZR1 coming, but still a huge competitor in its own right. So we've got that video and all these others up on CorvetteBlogger that you can see.
So cool. So cool. Also, we see celebrities in Corvettes. We've seen people like Jimi Hendrix in front of his Corvette, Bruce Springsteen sitting on the front of his C1 Corvette, William Shatner sitting right next to a 63 split window. Paul McCartney was seen leaving recording studio in a blue C5 Corvette.
Yeah, Sir Paul has owned that car for almost as long as we've been blogging. And I've got several posts going back, I think as far back as 2009 with him in his car.
Yeah.
He drives it whenever he's in California. I guess he's got a home here in California. And if you're a billionaire recording legend like Paul, you probably have a house in Los Angeles. He was seen actually driving the sports car as he was leaving a music studio. Not only was he driving the sports car, but he might be making some new music. So that's pretty cool as well. This showed up on one of the celebrity paparazzi, caught it and posted it to TikTok. It's funny how this went viral. I saw this everywhere, Road and Track and all kinds of places showing Paul. And the C5, not as flashy. It kind of offers a little bit of some incognito driving for Paul, I would think, compared to imagine leaving in the new Z06, how that would look. That would definitely attract some eyeballs, where the C5 been around for 20-some years. You might discount it, not knowing that there's a music legend Beetle behind the wheel. It's a great car. C5s are one of the best performance bargains on the market right now. You could be driving the same as your favorite Beetle.
Absolutely. You know, growing up, the Beatles were always my favorite group, and Paul McCartney was my favorite Beatle. This is a great story for us here on Corvette Today.
Same here. You
got it, buddy. All right, Keith, time for our final break. When we come up, a special bonus segment here on Corvette Today, talking about the NCM Michelin Bash next.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Hey, honey, are you awake?
I am now.
I can't sleep. Since turning 50, I keep dreaming of a red door and a blue door, somehow knowing there are only choices for retirement.
Okay.
Through the red door, we outlive our money. We have to rely on our kids. We're stuck on a fixed income. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that would suck.
But through the blue door, our money outlives us. We retire on our terms. Our kids stay our kids, not our caretakers. We make work optional.
Yes, that's much better. That's what I want too. But what do we do?
We call True Wealth & Company at 913-653-8783. They specialize in helping successful people make work optional. They're our fiduciary Blue Door personal wealth managers.
Hey, where are you going? It's 3 a.m.
I can't sleep. I'm going to check out True Wealth & Company online at retirewithtrue.com. That Blue Door is going to be our retirement.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
VetFinders.com is the Internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25. And every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada, and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetFinders.com, the Internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
And now, back to Corvette Today with your host and my husband, Steve Garrett.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. It's the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best? I know you do. Well, dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty. So visit wheelcraft.com today or give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com, my partner in crime every other week. It's a special bonus edition of Corvette Today. Segment 4 will focus on the NCM Michelin Bash. First of all, Keith, what did we learn that was new for Corvette in 2025?
Yeah, this is why we love the NCM Bash. It's where we find out all the latest updates for America's favorite sports car. And this year was full of new colors and options, but also Chevy's keeping us hanging as well. So there's a little bit of drama still. We are getting 3 new colors for 2025. They include Hysteria Purple Metallic, Competition Yellow, and then the return of Sebring Orange Metallic. That last one is very interesting to us. I don't remember a time when Chevy ever brought back a previous color during the same generation.
True.
But they say that word got out there and people demanded it, I guess.
Wow.
Competition Yellow was on C4 Corvettes. Insiders tell us it's slightly different than the color that appeared on the 1990 and later cars. And then as for Hysteria Metallic, it does have a little bit of blue in it. And some would say that it kind of reminds them of the radar blue on that 1998 Indy 500 pace car. Just have to get some yellow wheels, I guess, to complete that look. The purple in the sun looks very good. And then in the shade, it's definitely a grape. It doesn't fade to like a black or anything like that. It's definitely grape.
Right.
The other color change is that the Corvette team is making the yellow calipers match the new Competition Yellow as well. Before they had the Edge Yellow, which was basically the Accelerate Yellow. So it had a little bit of green in it, a little bit of fluorescent look to it. Now you can match your yellow car with yellow calipers and yellow seat belts, and you'll be the school bus that's good to go there. The drama is that Chevy hasn't really said which colors are going away. So we assume that we're going to get the new yellow and the old yellow go away. We're going to get the new orange, the old orange will go away.
Right.
But they hadn't said what's going to go away for Hysteria to come in. Some interesting rumors going away. I think the consensus is that it's probably the ceramic matrix gray. That color's been around since 2018. It was on the 65 carbon anniversary editions. It's done well, but it's kind of dropped down into the top of the last tier of colors. I think that's probably a safe bet there. But again, anything's possible. We've got 2 blacks, we've got 4 grays, 2 blues, 2 reds. There's somewhat of some duplication going on there. So wouldn't be surprised to see some changes to the colors for 2025.
Cacti might live another model year then, buddy.
You never know. As As for the interior, we got a habanero interior, which is orange and black. We hear it's very spicy. I think one of the guys said, yeah, it kind of slaps you in your face, you know?
Yeah.
Hence the name. And then also you can now order jet black with blue stitching, which I think is a very nice addition. Some people with the blue cars, they felt that the two-tone blue was just a little overwhelming, but black with that blue stitching I think will be very nice. And of course, you got the blue seat belts to tie it all in there.
Yeah.
Z06 will have a new wheel. I don't know if the online reviews have been very kind to it yet, but seeing it in person, I think is really a big difference. There's going to be 4 different finishes for this wheel. They are pearl nickel, gloss black, polished, and then the bright polish with the carbon flash pockets, which is what we saw on the Z06 at the Bash. They're way different than the spider wheels on the car. Of course, we only had the 2 choices currently. We had the spider wheels or the carbon fiber wheels. Now you've got the third choice. It's actually not a bad looking wheel, I think, once you get up and look at it.
Once I started looking at it, it grew on me.
Yeah, that was the case for me as well. And of course, the first picture I had of it, it was kind of in the shade. We captured it early morning. If we would have seen it out in the sun where that polish could shine a little bit more and the carbon flash could sparkle just a little bit with the metallic in it, might have made a bigger difference as well for the people that saw it online. We'll see if minds change on that. Finally, this Corvette Stingray Z51 Performance Package, they're getting a new standard spoiler. You know, before they've got this wing spoiler, opens up on the sides, there's a little slit right there in the middle. We're going to get a new wing that looks just like the high wing spoiler, the 4-post high wing spoiler, but it's only roughly half the size, maybe just under half the size. I think it looks really good. I kind of like the high wing, but I always thought it was a little too much being that high. And of course, it's a little harder to put stuff in the trunk, put your top away for your coupe owners. With this thing reduced in size, but still maintaining those same characteristics, I actually like it. I think it looks pretty good. And you can get it in all the body colors, or you can get it in carbon flash metallic as well.
So basically, it's the high wing a little bit shorter, just to make sure everybody understands.
Exactly. We were calling it the mid wing. Those are the changes for the 2025 Corvette. Of course, again, not knowing what colors are going away. One other thing they did announce, this is just a one-off, but they're going to do a special NCM edition for the 30th anniversary coming up this summer on August. And then that car is going to be raffled as a fundraiser. They're going to do some special stripes and some packages around that, but it's only that one car.
Yeah.
You have to donate to win it.
Yeah, it's a one-off car, and it looked really, really good, everybody. Also, Keith, let's cover the NCM Hall of Fame announcement. Who won and who's going into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, this is always big news. They announce it now, and then the Hall of Fame induction ceremony is actually held in August at the anniversary celebration. The 2024 class is going to be made up featuring both Oliver Gavin and Jan Magnussen. They're going in the racing category. Gavin and Magnussen, boy, they were a lot of fun. With all the new drivers we have, I'm having actually trouble keeping up with their names and who's in what car. You knew what car Magnussen was in, right?
Yeah.
That was always the case. He was dynamite. And of course, Gavin, together they won 8 championships driving for Corvette Racing, 51 wins for Gavin, 34 wins by Magnussen. We just love those guys, both of them. So glad to see that they made it in. Big news there again. Tadge Juechter will be joining Zora, Dave McClellan, Dave Hill, Tom Wallace as chief engineers to be inducted into the Corvette Hall of Fame. He spent 47 years at GM, been working on Corvette since 1993. Probably no one more deserving than Tadge for sure. Finally, in the enthusiast class, it's automotive and racing photographer Richard Prince will become a member of the Hall of Fame. He was running a Corvette restoration business and writing some articles for Vette magazine when he got what we call the break of a lifetime to document the beginnings of Corvette racing. And he's been their official photographer ever since. And he's somewhat used as the official photographer for Corvette because he's well known to the program, could be trusted with all the stuff that happens in advance. Richard's a friend. He wrote a book that just came out, 70 Years of Corvette. Great person and very happy for him as well.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I was really honored, Keith. I got to do a presentation on Corvette Today, a seminar at the Bash, and we had a special tribute to Corvette Today, didn't we?
This was a surprise for Steve. He had no idea this was coming, but our friend Jeff at Zippity's Garage put together this special tribute video for Steve. What he did was he reached out, had about 40 previous guests on the show do a video shout out, and then he compiled them all into the one video. Steve had no idea this was happening. I saw some tears from Steve when it first fired up. I don't know if he contained himself, but he got it together, and there were some really good people that were in there. The video is online. You got to see it. We'll have it up on CorvetteBlogger. It's also on YouTube at Zippity's Garage. But congratulations again, Steve. What a fantastic milestone for you, and couldn't be happier to be part of it.
Yeah, I was completely surprised by this, and it was in honor of starting year number 5 of Corvette Today. Thanks to Jeff Duda at Zippity's Garage for putting that together. It was absolutely fantastic. We will also have it on the Corvette Today website as well. And finally, Keith, we did this last year. We did it again this year. We recorded with the Holy Trinity of Corvette. That would be Tadge Juechter, Josh Holder, Chief Engineer, and Brand Manager Harlan Charles.
Yeah, we actually videotaped that whole seminar again. So you'll actually be able to see Steve asking the questions and the three guys answering them. Very informative. The questions were very good this year. Some really technical stuff as well. So if you're into that kind of thing, stay tuned for that announcement. I can't wait to see that video as it's up.
That should hopefully come out next week after this show. We're working on that as we speak.
Yeah, that's going to be a great one, Steve. To be part of that and see it happening, very honored to be part of that.
And also, a little announcement. We're going to also do that again at the anniversary celebration / caravan. So we'll have a second one coming up later on this year as well, which will be really cool.
And maybe we can hear about a new Corvette that will be part of that will hopefully be revealed by then. That's the big wondering when it's going to happen. But boy, that would be fantastic to be able to talk about ZR1 with those guys and actually have them answer those questions.
Exactly right. That's what I'm hoping for, buddy. Hopefully all the stars will align. Buddy, thanks for being back on Corvette Today. It was great to see you last week at the Bash. We'll talk to you again in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. All these stories are up on CorvetteBlogger. Again, we appreciate everybody that came up to the Bash, said we love you. We love listening to you guys. Steve's a true friend. We just have the best time doing this. So if we see you guys out there, just keep waving.
Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today. And be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today show. And thanks to our sponsors, Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-639-4231. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Ciocca Corvette at CIOCCA Corvette.com. True Wealth and Company at retirewithtrue.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at aerolarri.com. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at ChevyUSA.com.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. If you'd like to contact Steve with ideas for Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Also, sign up for email notifications at corvettetoday.ck.page. Follow Steve and the show on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Threads at Steve Garrett DJ. Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today.